factory. That's they had a breath workshop now on this weekend, I think, which has ended up being cancelled for a second time. I don't know whether that's just corona related or whether it's.
I think it might be due to the same reason.
Whatever. So retrospectively, undisclosed amount of time in the past, you got your black belt.
Yeah, got it.
So does that feel?
Still sinking in. Like, don't know. Like, I had a few messages of people and sort of when I said to them, "Oh, it's still sinking in." I'm not like still processing it. Like, yeah, it'll take a while. It takes a little while. It'll always catch you off guard because, like, I was in there and it just sort of got presented to me, and I was like, "This is funny. Like, is it? I'm holding it for you. Like, is it a joke?" And he's like, "No, it's yours." And I was like, "What? No, what? What?" Like, just really like caught me right off guard. And even on my drive home, like, I text girlfriend being like, "I've got it," sent her a picture of it, sent a text with mates. I was like, "Guess what's happened tonight?" These are like non-grappling mates as well, so it's sort of like guys that I grew up with, and they were like, what is it? What's in your hand? What is it? And I was like, "I got a black belt," and they were all like, "We don't fully understand what's going on, but we know it's big to you."
Yeah.
And then I rang my dad on the way home, and I was like, Dad, you alright? He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "What was that picture you sent me?" And I was like, "Did you not have a look at my hand?" And he's like, "Yeah, I couldn't see anything, the shorts are too dark." So I was like, "Well, just get it up on your phone for a second, just zoom into it." He goes, bear in mind, he's like 70 this year, and he's got like, his eyes are good, to be fair.
Yeah.
But he's like terrible on like phones and things like that. So he's zooming in and he goes, "I still can't see it." I was like, "I got a black belt." And he goes, "You didn't, son, did you?" I was like, "Yeah, I got a black belt." He's like, "Oh, congrats. Oh, this is amazing." This is all giving all this spiel. And I was like, "This feels a bit bad, whatever." But like, he's giving like, saying how amazing it is. And I was like, "Yeah, I still don't, I still can't believe it myself." And he's like, "Oh, no, I'm really proud of you, son." And I was there in the car, I was like, it's actually happened. Complete it now. I can quit, get out of shape, and I don't have to do anything now with it.
So everyone's thinking, because the picture's so bad, you just send them a picture of like a adult massage device. The hell's this? My side just bought a massive black BJJ belt.
The picture that I had was like, I was wearing like them really dark camo shorts as well, and I was stood there at my waist thinking, "You're gonna see this in the picture." I looked in the picture, you can't see a thing, and I sort of got to the point where I was like, "I can't ask for the picture now with a different pose." Be like, "Hey."
Can you not hold it like when kids do a diploma? No, I'm thinking of a diploma with a hat. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I was having a chat with, I told a couple of the guys who I work with that you got your black belt as well, and kind of people who don't do jits don't get what the belt promotions are, probably because of the way that like karate and all the traditional martial arts that have got a more, it's definitely more these guidelines to what a certain belt is, isn't there?
Yeah.
And always the conversation with jiu-jitsu is like there's a bit of uncertainty around what's the difference, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, whatever. So it's got, I told some of the guys here and they were like, "Oh, so what like criteria did you have to tick for that? Like was there, you have to do like a certain kata or something like that?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "So do you finish like learning the fundamentals then at that point?" I was like, "No, you probably learned all the fundamentals by purple belt, probably, maybe, and then it's just a refinement of the game and tightening everything up." But it's a weird one, isn't it? There's like no kind of tick list that's you could probably write down on paper to say the size of black belt today.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, we've spoken about this in the past, where it tends to be done on a person-to-person basis as well. Like, you're not gonna sort of judge someone on their promotion if they're let's say in their 40s, parent of two, training 2 times a week, and they're coming for just a new sport, get fit a little bit, and just some sort of social aspect, compared to the young 18-year-old who's got aspirations to compete, training 6 days a week, and essentially what we refer to as a mat rat.
Yeah.
The criteria that you sort of judge them to for their promotions will be completely different. I think unless you've been within the sport for I'd probably say over a year or two, you wouldn't fully grasp the whole concept of promotions. Because I've seen in some clubs as well where there is a checklist of techniques that you have to do, and I'm like, that works great. As what provided that those techniques are appropriate for that person's game. I've seen one where, one of my early clubs, like when we sort of went to a new system, one of the checklists for getting your, I think it was purple belt, because I had a blue at the time, was to be like, okay, you have to know, what is it? Certain amount of De La Riva sweeps, certain number of De La Riva submission entries from De La Riva guard. You have to know how to pass a De La Riva card a couple of different ways. And it was all oriented around De La Riva guard, and I was like, the passing aspect, that's fine. But I never actually played De La Riva on the bottom, so that grading criteria wasn't appropriate for me.
Yeah.
I think in the early days, I was very much collar and sleeve, and more collar and sleeve. I've never really been a spider or a De La Riva or lasso kind of guard player. It's just collar sleeve and leverage it. But I think, the grading criteria has got to be appropriate for that person. Even if it is a checklist and you want to see certain things, be like, okay, I want to see if they're a really good armbar player and they're a blue belt and they're verging on the type of purple. I want to be able to see you attack your arm bars from top side, maybe bottom side, be adequate, will be capable of getting it from your close guard, from the top, from the back, like be able to get your arm bar from all angles, as opposed to being like, okay, our club's a De La Riva club.
Yeah.
You must play De La Riva to get you your next grade.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? It's, I suppose, like a good thing to think about or to talk about would be to say, like, what does getting that black belt mean now for you and your students going forward? Because that's a big part of it as well, isn't it, with your coaching?
Yes.
How that then filters down to the students in your club, and like kind of what sort of criteria you would put on them, or acknowledgement of. Because there's almost an element of like time served to some extent, isn't there?
Yeah.
But then also there's got to be some level of technical proficiency as well.
Yeah.
And I suppose ultimately that's down to the students to apply themselves in and out of the lessons. Like the people who are going to accelerate quicker are the ones that are thinking about it outside of training.
Yeah.
Coming back into you with like fresh ideas. Like, I was doing this and watching this video and this and that. How can I put that in my game? And I think especially early on, like you said, that first 2 years of jiu-jitsu, maybe not knowing even fully what the belt or promotion system's about, and that's probably massively true, because I used like blue belts or white to blue belt. When I'm going to get my blue belt, what does that take? Like what's the difference between a 4-stripe white belt and a blue belt?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of uncertainty about it, isn't there? Like kind of wanting to get to that blue belt just for the sake of having it. Without necessarily understanding what the difference in the skill is between having it and not having it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's more for the coach to sort of have a sort of idea in that line. But I think because there's not that fixed criteria for promotions, the way I do it is I go off sort of feel. So what challenges are they presented to me when we were all together? If I'm presenting them something that I know that they play, how quick are they to act on it, and can they attack it, and can they change certain things together? What are they like in the club? Are they helpful? Have they shown personal growth? or are they just sort of not changing on a personal level as well? I'm not talking about changing where they sort of completely change their personality or things like that. It's just sort of having grown as a person.
Yeah.
Because I think anyone that's done training sport can attest for you do grow as a person. Like you kind of like pressure testing. It's everything sort of becomes. I find everything becomes easier in life once I've been put through some very, very difficult rounds. Just more so on the perspective of things, but actually carrying things out, or the way you look at things and approach things, you're sort of like, I've had a 120 kilo man trying to rip my eye out. This problem at the moment isn't the worst thing I've faced.
Yeah, I think the other important aspect of it as well, like you said, personal development is like, and it doesn't have to be this, but the willingness of the individual to like give back to the people who are less experienced than them, with like pointers on technique and making sure that you're trying to develop your training partners along with you as well, because ultimately you're only as good as the other training partners that you've got in the room. So like, personal development, another point on that is like, how willing are you to kind of give back to everybody else that you're training with? And I think like, some people are going to be more selfish on that. The guys who are kind of going to be competitors or successful competitors, that might not be something that is popping into the forefront of the mind. Like, oh, I want to bring on this guy, he's not doing so well. But actually, in a roundabout way, that is exactly what we should be doing, because the better we make everybody else in the room, the better they're going to be for competition.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a backwards way to think about it, but certainly something that's massively important.
I think just touching on that subject as well, as we both know, like as coaches, in both sort of physical, culture aspects as well as the grappling side of things, like you have your heavy days and your light days. As like say when you're lifting, you have your volume lighter days where you're kind of working more on the technical aspects of lifting or just trying to get different adaptations, and then you'll have your heavy days where you sort of like load the bar up and I just want to develop the heavy side of it. And the same thing goes for sparring. So even those that are the really avid competitors, there should be days where they're sort of like going into the gym and going, okay, today's going to be a light day. I'm going to work on one aspect of the game, and that aspect of the game I might not be able to develop with the higher belts where I'm going to be having to play the game. But with the less experienced players, I can start in bottom cycles where I can work my side control escapes, but I can also give them technical points on how to make their side control much nastier and much stronger. So then make my escapes even better, but it also develops them as players. And it's as a subject we've sort of touched on in the previous episode, where it's making use of every single training plan you've got.
So I think you were still a purple belt actually. I think when I met you and started training, and that's. I think you must have been a purple belt for quite a while. How long were you at purple belt for?
I think it might be like 4 or 5 years.
Quite a long time. And then, when did you get your promotion to brown belt? Probably about 2 years ago, maybe something around about that?
It was the November of 2018. Because I remember that because I was flying out to Worlds and I had to change the registration. Which LA, great experience. Competing was great. I just didn't play how I wanted to play.
What do you think in that time, over the past 2 years, particularly since you got your brown belt's been the biggest personal development from you? Whether that's either been like an improvement in skill or mindset or coaching?
My game's evolved, like, because I went through a phase sort of early brown, like late purple belt, where I was playing very bottom heavy because I wanted to develop my guard game a bit more and sort of leg attacks a bit more. And then I sort of resorted back to playing a bit more top heavy now, and being sort of looking for the sweeps and getting back on top rather than trying to finish from the bottom. I think everyone goes through that kind of phase where they favour different aspects of the game. I think my coaching's probably improved to a degree, just because I think over time your technical eye develops, and the more you sort of coach, the more you sort of study, the more you sort of find different nuances and the way that you deliver information improves. I think my mindset has been the biggest growth on the brown belt. More in the sense of competing I'm always struggled with, so I wouldn't say my competition mindset's improved. That's got to be done with practice, and you've got to be able to compete quite regularly to sort of shift that mindset, which hasn't been the forefront of mind the past couple of years. Whereas I deliver information, the way that I approach things, and my willingness to sort of hand out information, and if someone's struggling with something, trying to break it down with them. I think that's I've seen over that.
No, definitely. I can definitely agree with that. From your point of view, that's one thing that I've noticed about you since I started training with you from the beginning. Very open and willing to give good critique and feedback, and just willingness to share information. And I've grown a lot off the back of that in terms of my technical game, but also the way that I try and give information to other people as well, whether that's like training partners or students. So I've always thought that was a really good quality of yours from the beginning, and definitely the people that I train with or have trained with you as well notice and always comment the same thing. So I don't know whether that's something you've always done or whether it's just been something, as you said, that you've been more conscious of over the past couple of years. But I would definitely say that's a big.
I think it's more since open since the open hive, and I think it was Cam that sort of put it to me in a sense that sort of made more sense. It was, you open a club, it's not to sort of, obviously you want to develop a great set of athletes that's going to go out there and just win everything, because you want what's best for your students. But it's more so the fact of, I want to be in a room where everyone's trying to rip my head off, has the ability to take it to me.
Yep.
I don't want to develop a room where there's sort of like an air of, or can't smile to whoever is the coach. I want the room to be like, no, my arms, if I leave my arm hanging, you're going to take it, you're going to take it home. And it's sort of developing that kind of room, and it's not just me being a coach, it's me just leading a room and training with mates, as opposed to sitting on the sidelines and coaching from afar. And I say I've been caught in submissions by people I've coached, like you've caught me on a regular basis, and it's not something that when I'm going, I should be caught by these, they're not as experienced as me, so like I made a mistake, they capitalised on it. The information I'm delivering must be doing something good. And I'm far from having an ego where it can't be submitted by anybody of a lower grade than me, because what's like, for anyone who knows Sam Quinn, I think there was one week he came down to camps, I think about a year or two ago.
Probably still a blue belt.
No, I think he just got his purple belt. And now I think I was like a few months of the brown belt, and we're rolling, and he must have caught me in about 4 or 5 leg locks in one round. And I was like, great, there's a hole in the game there. There wasn't I can't be caught by this guy. There's a hole in my game, I need to work on it. And there's too many coaches out there, I'm sure you come across them and heard of them, where it's sort of like the students are almost scared to put it on them because of this big image of the coach that belt is beating them. I might embarrass them.
Yeah, I always think it's a difficult one rolling with somebody more experienced. Definitely if they're your coach, because like I just use when I came down to Hive as an example. and I can do this anywhere I go, whether it's an open bar or something like that, is almost being overly respectful.
Yeah.
And certainly if you're only having one round initially, like, and even in the course of the round, it might evolve. Like you start off like super respectful,
Yeah,
and it's really nice, isn't it?
yeah,
that overly nice. And then maybe you get a couple of minutes into the round and like see something's happened and it ramps up.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
intensity goes up. But I remember when the first couple of times we sparred over the first couple of weeks, it was like nice kind of like a feeling out process almost. And then like after we rolled together a bit more, I was like, right, I'm gonna try and put it on in a bit more.
Yeah.
And like I was appreciative that you put the same amount of effort into trying to fuck me up as well
Yes,
at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And that I sometimes find that difficult because like with my main coach, Alan, like we'll just try and fuck each other up all the time as we do with our main training partners. But it's difficult to try and find that balance because for me, I almost feel like it's using that as an opportunity to test out my techniques without stripping away some of the athleticism or the athletic quality of it. And I don't know whether that always works because part of the athleticism is part of the technique to some extent. So sometimes you can make a bit of a mistake in thinking, oh, kind of try it, but like with less athleticism, then it doesn't work. That wasn't really what it was when I did with everybody else. And you're not giving a true representation of your technique. But then equally, you don't just want to be the knobhead who's rolling with your coach or rolling with somebody who's more experienced, and you just go into it like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
And it's, sometimes I've never found the difficulty trying to strike the balance with it because I've always gone in the lower end of the intensity.
Yeah.
But the better I get to know somebody, and the more confident that I am that they're fine with that level of intensity, and it's going to go both ways, then I'll always ramp it up.
Oh yeah, no, 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, because that there's always that element of strength in there.
Yeah.
Where so you don't know each other too well to like say rip each other's heads off. So like you sort of start off respectful and then you sort of amp it up. But I think for me there's, like I've heard a story, like I think the only exception of it is if your coach is beyond their competing age, or they've not got a desire to sort of push their athleticism or the competitive side of their rolling, and they're just sort of there to just play.
Yeah.
I think that's when you sort of like, okay, I'm gonna bring intensity down, and this is where I'm gonna meet you in your own intensity, and it's gonna be more of a technical match as opposed to throw it off the wind and just meet like bulls locking horns. I think that should be the only sort of exception where you're not trying to put on your coach, but then if you get through the round and you sort of, because I'll say it to somebody that they feel like they're sort of being a bit nice and like, you better than this. Obviously in a more polite way, I'm like, you've got more in the tank. Let's do it. Like, oh, just an arm there. Like I left that 9 million a couple of times just to see what you can take it. You missed it, and then we'll either finish the round and I'll talk to them like, oh, just sort of stop the round. Like, I know you like the submission.
Yeah.
What's happening? Like, is it the angle? Is it like, and then sort of working through them.
I'm scared to submit. Didn't want the wrath coming back out.
Like. I understand that aspect of it as well, but it's almost like deer in the headlights when you do catch a technique on someone who's more experienced than you, or seen as a higher caliber than you. You're sort of like, I landed that. And then in that split second, you're thinking that their experience and their sort of natural reaction is to recover, and in that time period, they've escaped, and the top player's been like, I had it, I lost it. Yeah. But then the next time that happens, that moment's going to happen a lot less again. And then each time it happens again, it's going to happen less and less each time. So then when it does get to the point of having the tougher rounds with that person who's seen as a higher caliber, where you do on certain techniques, you're going to be like, I don't see this mystique anymore. You're just a training pattern till the round ends. It's happened to me like loads of times, like rolling with Cam when we first started rolling, and I'd find an entry on something or something, I'd be like, have I just got hit? And in that split second, he's reversed position or he's sort of got his way out of it. And we were actually talking about this yesterday, and he sort of says that he's just like similar to us, where he's sort of like, I don't want people to just sort of appease to my ego. Like, I want to train and be pushed each session. Because it's happened like another time. I'm not going to name drop, but I landed doing a couple of rounds with him, and I landed a single leg transition to a running double. This is sort of like top tier black belt that we landed this on, and I must have ran about 5 or 6 meters across the mat and landed this takedown. Cam was in the corner, and Cam was like, "Did you just land that?" And in my head, I looked over to Cam and I was like, "Did you see that?" I just did that.
It worked.
I was like, and we've been drilling this technique all week. I was like, yes. But then that must have been less than a second in that thought process. But then that's where this player's tier of black belt came in, and they just hip escaped, got up to their feet, got out, and then reset. And then I thought I didn't like that technique on him again. But we ended up getting like quite a few rounds, and he's probably the highest caliber player that I've ever rolled with. And yeah, but that deer in the headlights thing does happen.
Yeah.
I feel like we just sort of diverted off to a completely different story. Like,
I've only rolled with Cam definitely once, maybe twice. And I remember just thinking, like, yeah, cool, let's go for it. Like, he seemed up for it on the day. So I remember going at him, and it was a good solid round, but he absolutely bulldozed me. And I think we both enjoyed it. But no, like, I think there's probably a difficult thing. And I, again, don't struggle to strike the balance between it. But when you're rolling with a less experienced person, as the more experienced player, you're giving them those openings and opportunities to see what they can do with it. But that's where, as a more experienced player, having those gears or having the levels is a good asset to have, because you can give them something, and then like when you feel like where the level is, just slightly ramp it up and always just be a little bit ahead of them with it. But being on the receiving end of it, like, you don't ever want to go into a role with somebody and leave the role feeling like you just gave me everything there and there wasn't enough of a challenge. I always find that to be quite disheartening, and I never want to put that sort of a round out there for somebody. Where they feel like, oh, he's just kind of giving me everything and he's not fought back. And I always appreciate it when somebody with a higher level than me as well, you'll like put it on me. Like, I always feel like I want them to try and give me their A game. But again, I think that's a difficult one to try and strike the balance of as the more experienced player.
I think when you get like close to purple belt and above, like sort of top tier blue belts, you get less of those sort of, I'm gonna dangle this carrot here for you. But I think there is going to be a degree of, okay, you're really struggling in some aspects of the game. I'm not going to let you get there. You're going to work for every position you get. So I'm not just going to lay there and you can pass my guards, go to half guard, just transition everywhere. But it's going to be, you're going to work to get to what you got. But I'm not going to go full defense mode where you can't work and you can't develop. And if someone did leave around with me feel like that everything had just been handed to them, then I'd much rather they say to me, I felt like, oh, could you just bring it up a notch next time, or could you put it on me next time? So then there's an understanding of, okay, they want a bit more of a challenge. Because like, I understand that there's nothing more disheartening than rolling with somebody and feeling like everything's just been handed to you at a plate, and you've not learned anything as a player either, being the less experienced one. But I don't think there's too many people that roll like that.
No, I think as a coach or just a high level player in general, you've got to be like a weird sort of AI for a computer game.
Yeah.
Like just use FIFA or something like that as an example. Yeah. Like you can start off on easy mode, and then without having to go into the settings and change it, you can just ramp up the intensity because you can see that the player's skill level is getting better.
Yeah.
And just always provide that appropriate level of challenge.
Yeah. And then obviously there's going to be that one or two training partners where, regardless of what level they are, you're going to want to pace them every time.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. Because it depends who it is. Because some people need that. Yeah. Black belt now, what do you think? Now that you've completed it, are you going to go back and complete it on the left side? Or, because everyone completes jiu-jitsu on one side first, I think mine's on the right side. But like, where do you see, how does it change things? Because I think everyone's got the mystique of the black belt. It's not a black belt, it's the black belt. I think it's a community thing, isn't it? So,
yeah.
How does that change things? What does black belt mean and change?
Do you know, I think the biggest change that's going to happen is marketing for Hive. I think that's because now having that black belt led or black belt coach on the marketing side of things does help. Like regardless of what people say about belt doesn't matter if you're a good coach, you're still gonna want that if you're untrained, if you're not experienced.
I think it's a level of expectation, isn't it? For people who aren't, they don't know the difference between a world-class brown belt and a black belt.
Yeah.
A black belt means that you've completed it.
Yeah.
Basically. So from an outside point of view, 100%.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest change, really. Because like my coaching style has constantly develops anyway. And I'm very open with the students about if we go back over a technique that you might already know, there's going to be new details in it. There's going to be a new analogy that's like
you love your analogies.
The potatoes.
That's one thing that you do need to get better on. I'll get you a better analogy book.
So I did like a little diary. And I'm like, oh, it's great that one. It's great that one. Boiling the potatoes with where you're making a jacket potato, softens them right up.
Oh man, I already came out of that. I'm just like, what? Just
it was one of, like in my head. It sounded great, and then as I said it, I was like, I made a mistake.
This is so insightful. Everyone's going to know exactly what I'm all about.
Black belt level.
Are you bothered about having a bigger target on your back?
No, I quite enjoy the big target on my back because it means that I've got to stay sharp on my game. Like I said earlier, like I've not got that ego where I can't be submitted, whether someone's 10 years of black belt or 3 years, 6 days a week, twice a day training and they catch me.
Yeah.
Like if you catch me, you catch me, and it just means that I've got to change something in my game.
Yeah.
So no, I kind of embraced it.
I think the thing is though, to be fair, like people already know you and respect you as a player, so like you've got a good target on your back anyway.
Yeah.
So that intensity or intention for the round is always there.
Yeah.
Knowing that you're going to be a challenging round, so I couldn't really see that just having a black belt is going to make that much of a difference from that point of view.
Oh no, yeah.
Certainly from an external point of view. I don't know how that feels different from your point of view, but no, it's good. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember when I got it, and when I went out to see my girlfriend afterwards, and she was like, "Where is it then?" And I was like, "Well, it's in the car." She goes, "You just not bring it to show me?" And I was like, "That's a bit weird, isn't it?" Like, she goes, "Don't be humble around me." And I was like, "But I feel weird." She goes, "Yeah, but my family want to see it. I want to see it." And I was like, "Oh no, I feel really awkward now."
Okay, actually, it's in my hoodie.
I was like, "There we go, round the head."
Yeah, I think maybe that wears off later on in the belts you get, but I think these like white belt, 4-stripe white belt wants to wear that white belt everywhere. Oh, there's that hilarious meme that we probably talked about before with that where the raccoon's just like overjoyed about
another stripe.
Yeah. But Michael Challen was telling me about a story where he was just walking down the street and this guy was wearing in his gi pants with his white belt slung over his shoulder, and he just like kind of brushed past each other, and the white belt was giving him the stink eye, and he just basically they both turned around at each other and gave that kind of cowboy standoff where the black bars come over the top of the screen and it's like it's about to go down Mexican standoff style. And he's Alan's fucking awesome jiu-jitsu player who's been playing for years, and this white belt's looking at him like, do you know who I am? Have you seen this belt? 4 stripes here, like you're gonna get wrecked.
I can fully picture like say Kill Bill style.
Yeah.
And then have you seen the Kit Dale clip where they sort of have the street fight? They both just sit down and start screaming.
Yeah, can you imagine you use Paul's guard and tries to tell him? I think in that scenario, you just choke him out with his own belt.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But I must admit, during my first 2, possibly 3 years, I was that person that was like, made it obvious that I trained.
Yeah.
So like, when I was actually like, he's doing that, yeah, he's doing this. But even to the point of like, traveling to training, I'd wear spats during the winter to start to cycle in, shorts over the spats, but they'd be like obvious like scramble spats with all the like the logos all over, and I'd have this is really embarrassing now, but I'd wrap my gi up, wrap the belt around my gi, and rather than putting it into a bag, I'd tie it over my shoulder. I'd cycle in with my blue belt or my white belt, cycling that with everything attached to the back. And I remember like the week that it stopped, because one of the more experienced players, I think like brown belt at the time, he goes, "You just really travel straight like that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, and I sort of like, you sort of like look and you catch your reflection. I was like, yeah, I need to change this.
I'm just imagining you in your head, you think you've got like some Japanese comic book style thing where you're like
those wooden clogs with the tooth.
Yeah. I am a virtuous hero. Look at me and my blue belt go.
One Punch Man. 5 randoms a day.
Yeah, don't
just squats.
Don't be that guy. If you're going to, also if you have to go to the shop or go for petrol after you've been to training, please just change your clothes.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, I've done it where I've like kept my gi pants on and threw a hoodie over the top just when like showers have been out or I'm just that exhausted I cannot be bothered getting changed. Slides on, hoodie on, gi pants on, and gone and nipped into the shop to get a pint of milk on the way home, but I'm not going full suit.
And to be fair though, probably everybody in the shop thinks, oh, that guy's done great.
Yeah. Oh,
Taekwondo instructor.
some wet jammers.
I think on that note, it's probably a good time to wrap up.
Yeah.
Go and check out all the other podcasts that we've got on the Spotify. We need to get better at saying this in the podcast actually, rather than everybody switching off by this point.
Yeah.
Go and like and subscribe and share to everything that we've got on there.
Yeah, the Grapplers Academy on all the social media platforms, including where you can get your podcast at. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you think of this new format as well for the podcast. I know, like me and you, much prefer this. The subjects seem much better. The conversation seems much better. Or if you prefer us having like a focal point for the subjects, let us know and we'll try and cover them and try and almost like phase it into this open conversation format.
We know we've already had a discussion today as well. If you are just somebody who listens to the podcast, we're going to look at a better audio setup. I know the listening back to it, they are a little bit echoey, so I know that makes it easy to listen to when the audio quality is better. So we've already had a chat about that. We're going to be sorting that out as well. But yeah, we've changed it over the last couple of weeks to be more of a sit-down conversational style thing. We've covered quite a lot of topics, haven't we, over the past 6 months or so.
Yeah.
So we'll run this for a little bit. Let us know what you prefer, and then we can carry on cracking with it that way.
And all you tier 3 COVID police, 2 meters.
Yeah, 2 meters apart. We're not even within like touching distance there.
No. Can't even do the ET.
Yeah, Grapplers Academy, go and check it out. Follow us, hit us up.
share us, like us. If you don't like us, let us know. Well, actually, yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Somebody who's good at like animate, draw, or come up with a little video of Simon riding to training with his blue belt on. Who's the guy who does all the memes at Hive?
Oh, James Lowe.
James Lowe, make that happen.
James, you've got a mission now.
Yeah.
Please.
I want an animated series where Simon's like a 18-year-old kid that virtuously rides his bike everywhere in jiu-jitsu gear.
Please, I had more hair then as well. So if you can factor that in, I'll get a lovely flashback.
Well, if you come up with something decent, we'll make you a free t-shirt. Or maybe we'll even make that into a t-shirt.
There we go. Get you online.
Cool.
On that note, thank you for listening, guys.
Later.